everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge, one of your hosts with The
Mm-hmm.
Edge, with Donna and Kathy. I'm Donna.
And I'm Kathy.
Thank you again so much for watching. We're on the air on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 1 o'clock p.m. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that's Central Time to all of our friends who live up north and
That's
out at the
right.
west, out that way, too. But thank you so much for watching. I know you could be doing anything else, but you're watching us.
And this is a fun show
Mhm.
for women, for men. It's about fun things and actually
How-tos.
how to save some money
How,
right
oh,
now.
and
Yeah.
that's so important right now. It really is.
How to save some
Do
money.
you ever clip coupons?
Yes, I used to. I used to a lot. Actually, now I am one of those Target shoppers and Walmart shoppers.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of things I don't buy there, I actually would get them at Dollar General.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you can get some better buys actually at Dollar General, like with
Let me tell you how you can
detergent.
save some money. I'm going to tell you how you can do it. Got to get the Capital One credit card through Walmart.
Really?
So if you'll do that, I shop online now. If it's something I can't buy locally from a local store.
Right.
So I'll go ahead and go to walmart.com. And I've got my card ready, by the way. So you got to get approved for that card. And what will happen is whatever you order on walmart.com,
Mm-hmm.
you save 5%.
Okay, now that's the way Target works.
That's a way to do it.
But now Target actually, I think, is changing.
Mm-hmm.
I think theirs was actually a Target card.
Uh-huh.
Now it's going to be a credit card
Mm-hmm.
starting in September.
That's the way
I
this
think.
one is.
Is that the way
This
Walmart? Is that what Walmart's
it's a credit
done?
card. You've got to
Yeah.
actually go through Capital One to get this credit card.
Wow.
Now,
Yeah.
if you go inside the store, you save 2%. So if you order it online, 5%.
Oh, that's
Which
really
I don't like
good.
going inside the store. I'm not a shopper. I'm just telling you, I'm one of the few women on earth who does not like to shop.
Well, I still love. I wear my mask though. I know a lot of people don't, but I still do because I want to be able to do all these fun things like our show together. And I also want to see my grandbaby and keep my
Oh, I
grandbaby
totally get
some.
it. Yeah.
So I try to be safe for that reason, to be honest, because I just don't want to be sick, because then I'm going to miss out on so much.
And we don't want you sick either. I hear
No.
that you're a horrible patient.
Oh yeah, nurses are horrible.
Yeah, we don't want
Because
you sick.
I don't I won't tell you I'm sick until I'm like dying and ready to go to the ER.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of that way too. See,
Yeah.
I did have COVID. I had it a few months ago. And so, yeah,
It was bad.
I've heard that I wasn't a good patient. Phil said that I was not. He said, you're not a good patient. You know that?
Did you not mind the doctors? Did you not do what they told you?
No, I did what they said.
Oh, well,
I
then-
did. I had a really
Well,
good,
that's a good
doctor.
patient,
A
then.
good doctor right here in Geraldine, Alabama.
Well, then that's
And
a
she
good
was
patient.
awesome. And so I told her I didn't want to go to the hospital. And I think she already figured out how I was. And she said, well, you're going to have to do what I tell you to do. Everything I tell you to do, you know. And I said, I give up. Here's the white flag. I'm ready. I'm whatever I need to do. And she said, okay, you're going to have to come. You're going to have to do breathing treatments, which I did. And so we buy this little thing, this little gizmo that's a breathing machine kind of
Nebulizer.
thing. Is that what that is?
Mm-hmm. That's what it's called, yeah.
$30. It's worth it because I could actually breathe. And so then I had to go to her office, and she had to do these kind of shot-like things.
They did the antibodies, monoclonal antibodies, probably. That's what
Yeah,
they did,
well, I'm gonna tell you what, she saved my life. I really do, because I have asthma, and it's not fun. You don't want to get COVID if you got asthma.
No, I don't want to get it. I don't want to get it.
I don't COVID
period,
I'll put
either.
it to you this way: I was in labor 26 hours plus when I had my son. I'd
Right.
rather be in labor 26 hours than have COVID again.
Oh yeah, then that's bad.
That is really super bad. Because at
That's
least
bad.
after 26 hours, you're done. But
Yeah,
COVID wants to hang
that's
on.
bad. Well, I heard it's way worse. I mean, a lot of people, but now in some people, it's nothing. Isn't that amazing?
Phil had it at the same time, nothing. I don't know
Did-
what we would have done
did
if
he even
both
feel
of us had
bad?
done. No.
Runny nose. Is that all he had?
Mm-mm. No.
My son-in-law, he really just felt like the flu for about 2 or 3 days.
He said he felt
Didn't
like
have
he
the
was
cough
going to
or
come down with the
anything.
flu or something.
And then
He was a
my
little
daughter,
achy.
she was sick. Oh, she was like you. Bad cough. Bad cough. Had to have an inhaler. Bless her heart. Yeah.
Yeah, there's my inhaler. I still keep that thing
It took a
around.
while for her
Yeah.
to get over it. About
Uh-huh.
2 or 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And she tested positive still, like on the 12th day. But we were going to the beach. And she was like, Mom, we can cancel that. I said, oh, no, we're not canceling. You're going to retest. If you're negative, we're going to the beach then. Because I'm taking my grandbaby to the beach. Because this is the first time I've been to the beach with just a girl trip. It's probably since they were in high school.
So I got to ask you a
it was
question.
important.
So if you have your choice of anywhere in the world, would you rather go anywhere in the world at a beach or anywhere in the world in the mountains?
That's a very hard one, Donna. Because I love the mountains. I love the cabin, the fireplace.
Cabin fever.
I love. Now, okay. I can answer that fairly, and you all probably can too. Beach in the summer, mountains in the winter.
There you go.
There we go.
That'll solve that little dilemma.
Yeah, how about that?
Now, how are we going to trick our husbands into this?
That's hard because they don't like taking off work. They don't like to take off work.
Well, the neat thing about what we do is just bring a laptop, and we can just get a laptop anywhere. As long as I've got internet, I'm fine.
Yeah. I guess we could, you probably could do Zoom like we did before we started coming in studio.
These new little technologies,
cool.
I love them. Now, I'm going to tell you, when COVID hit, and I was working, actually as an independent contractor for another station, and I would go to their studio and actually have my shows. And so the lady who owned said, no, you've got asthma, I want you home. She said, just get you a green screen and do it as a spare room of your house.
Wow.
So then Phil built this on. This used to be a carport.
Isn't that cool?
So he had this built on for me, which is pretty neat. And so I didn't like it at first.
Okay, so I have to tell you the secret about Donna that a lot of you may not know. She is so creative. Candles, jewelry. I cannot tell you what all she makes. So I'm creative, Donna, but I think it's because I've spent so much time with children.
Yeah, you learn to be creative. You spend a lot of time.
I've had a lot of I'm a multitasker and very creative. And you're a multitasker and very creative. It's just that I'm just now getting to that point where I want to, like I've had a sewing machine and it's been in the closet all these years.
Oh, girlfriend, get it out.
Well, my goal was to sew for my daughters, but when they were younger, it was cheaper to buy the clothes.
True.
It was cheaper. It cost more.
Material.
Yeah. Oh, material was that ridiculous.
It's crazy. Not when
it's ridiculous.
Not when you can go and find some bargains. Like, I want to tell you, when I was in the corporate world, I used to work at GTE corporate. And so back in that day, you had to dress up and wear suits and high heels. And, all that kind of stuff. They don't do that anymore. I think they wear like golf shirts.
You can if you want to.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, it still looks better.
I prefer
I like that classic.
Dress it up. Yeah, the pearls and all that kind of stuff.
I like classic.
But this is what would happen at Dillard's. I can talk about them right now because this is something they used to do. I don't think they still do it anymore. I would wait for the sales. I'd wait for because they would have like $200, $300 suits marked down to $20. I'd rack up. I mean, I'd go down there and get like 10 suits. And so people would say, boy, you spend a lot on your clothes. And I'd just be kind of chuckling like,
that's still the thing to do. No, that's still the thing to do. You go when the sales are on. So usually Christmas merchandise, winter merchandise, goes on sale in January, the 1st of January. And then the summer clothes usually goes on sale in August and September. That's when I've always bought my children's clothes. That's when I buy my clothes.
By the way, Kathy.
Because I'm not going to pay that.
I can't believe she hasn't said something.
Can't do it.
I raided Kathy's closet. And thanks for the jacket.
It looks good, doesn't it? See? And I found a few more things. She's got some cute pants, which are hot in style now. The what do you call them? Crop. Not crop. They're not pedal pushers like the old people used to call pedal pushers. My mother used to call pedal pushers.
That, yeah.
But now it's called, I can't even think of the name, what they're calling them. My daughters call them.
I still call them pedal pushers, crop off pants.
Crop.
I
guess that's what I call them. I can't remember what the girls call them. They call them something else. Same thing. Basically, it means the pants come below your calf and above your ankles. That's what it means.
Yeah,
right in the middle, right
thanks
there.
Thanks for the clothes.
Yeah. And she's got some. Those pants are really look really cute with that.
Yeah, I think they're gonna look really cute. I really do. Thanks for the clothes.
See, she's so thin and she's little. She's very petite.
I'm 5'4". You should, if you want to say petite, you need to say my daughter-in-law.
Oh, really?
5'2".
Really? Wow.
She's
yeah,
from Russia,
she is
you know?
very petite.
Gorgeous girl. Looks like a little doll. I mean, she looks like a little doll. You just want to pick her up and just be like a little doll, be a little girl again. So she's very tiny, very little, from Russia, was brought here when she was 9 years old.
Wow.
Her and 2 sisters.
That's cool.
Yeah, my son married into this awesome, awesome family. I mean, I prayed that he would find a family like that to marry into, and he did. They are really good, nice people, and so they actually went to Russia for the baby girl.
Really?
And then Larissa and her other sister kept following the people around the halls, the administrator.
Yeah.
So Debbie and Jim, who are the mom and dad, asked who the 2 little girls were who kept following around. She said, well, they're sisters of the baby that you're going to adopt. And, of course, you couldn't do this now. This is in Russia. And I don't know if you could even adopt in Russia anymore. But anyway, she said she got to the hotel room and said, Jim, you know what I want to do? And Jim goes, yeah. I saw that look in your eye. I know what we're going to wind up taking all 3 of them, right?
Oh,
and he said, but
really?
now we got to stop at 3. You can't take every kid who's in the
foster home. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
wow.
Anyway, that's needless to say, a great thing from Russia with love is what we called when Brad and Larissa got married. So, you know, the groom's parents, you know, you always do like a dinner and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I got this banner and called it From Russia with Love.
And that was good.
That was a good thing. Oh, she loved that.
Oh,
and I'm going to tell you, that girl likes some football too. She married the right guy. Brad married the right gal.
We all love football.
That's what we do right here. I don't know where you're watching from because, see, we're on Abundant TV, too.
Oh, yeah. Football is the bomb. My husband played at Alabama.
Philip, no.
Do you know that?
No. When?
He actually would have played in the 92 championship that Alabama won.
Oh, really?
But he actually left because he had 2 deaths in his, I would say it's his immediate family. It was his best friend and his grandmother.
Best family.
And so he said he didn't take it well, and so he moved back home. And I didn't know him then. If I would have said, stay in that football. Because that's what I've told my son. Stay in that basketball as long as you want to do it. You only live once, and you better chase your dreams. You only get one chance. You don't get a chance to do it over.
That's true. That's true.
So do it right the first time if you can.
But
if you can't, try again.
Yeah, but Kathy, I've got a mixed marriage.
Yeah.
He's an Alabama fan. I'm an Auburn fan.
Well, my sister's Auburn.
See,
and Chris's brother is Auburn, and Chris is Alabama fan.
But before every game, this is what we do. Because one of us is going to be mad at the other one. We never know which one of us is going to be. So before the game, we go, let's shake. Because one of us is going to be mad at the other one. And and of course I lost a bet. It was like a little cheap bet. Ohio State when Auburn and Ohio State.
Oh yeah.
A friend of mine, I went bet with this.
Wow.
It's awful. I'm having to use it. Just a few more weeks, so when Auburn plays them again, maybe we'll get
the opportunity.
He'll have to do the Auburn thing.
Yeah. I can't wait till football season comes.
Oh, I can't wait.
However, I do love basketball too, because I like going to see all my sons.
And my old buddy AP Stedham got me into basketball. I just never done basketball, but I'm gonna tell you, Auburn and Alabama do really well in basketball too, don't they?
Well, my son, remember I'm a little partial because I have a college basketball player at Lee University, and that's an awesome school, but they have a great basketball team too. But I love watching college basketball better than I do NBA. But I used to love watching high school. His coach back at White Plains was just awesome, Coach Randall. He's still there. And he
used to be
loves those kids. Yes, I cheered. But I actually went to Anniston High School. I didn't go to White Plains. But White Plains has is a family, But good coaches out there, good people. The whole county's just, it's got some really good county schools. It's really good schools. Now, Oxford City So it's a large
I
school
went to
now. It's
Oxford.
really big now, though, Donna.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, I went there. Well, I went to Friendship Elementary School. It's out close to Cheehaw Acres in Oxford.
Yes.
They closed that school down, though.
Yes.
I was in the sixth grade, and they closed the school down that year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I only went to the sixth grade. Then I went to Oxford High School. Miss Anderson. I used to love Miss Anderson. I had her back and Dixie Roberts, Miss Roberts. She was one of my favorite teachers too.
Yeah.
So they wound up, when Friendship closed, they wound up with teaching jobs at Oxford High School.
Wow.
And so I was so happy when I walked into English class and I saw Miss Anderson in there again.
Okay, we're reminiscing
She
minute
was such a sweet
about the
teacher.
school days. But now, enough reminiscing, because I want to talk about all this fun stuff. In her house, I have to tell you, she makes candles. Okay, and you know what she told me before we started the show? She said, you can make candles out of crayons.
Mm-hmm. The crayons
Okay,
out of anything.
okay, tell us. I don't know how to do that.
Get your kids broken up, and this
I don't
is
know how
a
to do
good
it.
project for the kids.
And I have a bunch of old crayons.
Don't throw them away. So what you'll want to do, melt them down. Now you need to do this either in a microwave or a double boiler. Do not put
Okay.
it directly on the stove because it'll like stink. It'll like smoke up like
Okay,
crazy. So
okay.
don't do that.
Okay.
Either a double boiler, you get some water and put it in a pot, and then put another pot on top of it and put the crayons and let it start melting.
Kind of like your steaming broccoli?
Kind of.
Okay.
Something
Okay.
kind of like that.
Okay.
I prefer the
Can do that.
microwave because
Okay.
it's quicker. You don't, especially when it's really hot and the humidity is high. Even
Uh-huh.
though it's cool in the house, you still got high humidity. Okay,
Right.
so it does a whole lot better in the microwave. So what I'll do is you can put your crayons in there. You need a wick, and you can go to your Hobby Lobbies or any of those other
Wow.
stores and get some wicks, and then put one in a cup or a glass or whatever you want to put it in. And just don't do plastic, not a plastic container. That's not going to work.
So you put the candles in a glass container to
Mhm.
put it in the microwave? Is that what you're doing?
No, don't put the wick in there. Put the candle in there because see, the wick
Okay.
has got this little metal thing down on the bottom
Oh,
of it, and
you
those are
explode.
spark. So you don't want that to happen. So
Okay.
what you'll do if you want to make really pretty color candles, let me tell you what
Okay.
you can do. So you can get you some. I love red. Red's one of my favorite
Okay.
colors. So you can get red and put it in a cup and
Uh-huh.
put it in the microwave. Let it get hot. Let it melt. Okay.
Okay.
And get you a little popsicle stick or something, and then stir it up really good, and then just put it in the bottom of the container, whatever you're going to use. You can use an old cup, an old mug. Go to the thrift store and buy some mugs for 50 cents a piece.
Well, I was first say, couldn't you use old mason jars?
Perfect. I mean, that is perfect, and they're really cute.
Yeah.
And put like just a real pretty ribbon and stuff around it. But let me tell you how to make it really pretty.
Okay.
And we're going to do this on one of the shows.
Okay.
So
I'm
I've got a
excited.
crayon. I got a red crayon. I've melted it. Okay,
Mhm.
and they're usually made out of paraffin wax. I can't do paraffin because of the asthma. That's why I make soy candles. But I'm going to show you how to do paraffin.
Okay.
So this is out of your candles. And then you might put a little fragrance in there if you want to do that. So and make sure you stir the fragrance out really good. Okay.
So, like,
Because it
what do you
sweats
mean
if
put
you
a fragrance?
don't.
Like a squirt of perfume or something?
No,
in it?
no, no.
Okay,
Use
what
it.
do you do?
It needs to be a candle fragrance.
Oh, so like you buy a candle
Or
fragrance.
essential
Okay.
oils. I like to use essential
Okay.
oils
Oh,
because
okay.
of my asthma.
Okay.
And
Okay.
essential oils, there's so many benefits to using essential
Cool.
oils. So
That's
let's
cool.
just say I've got rosemary. Rosemary is good for memory. And so just put a few drops is all it takes, okay? And you
Wow.
can find these at your GNCs and places like that. You can also order them online if you want to do that. I've got my
Cool.
favorite company I've been ordering from since the 80s. And so I'm going to give myself whatever I want. And,
Cool. That's
always never out of anything. And they're really quick orders, so I like the customer service. That's important, customer service. So anyway, okay, I got my red. Now, I don't let it dry, okay? I don't let it harden.
Okay.
I'm going ahead and maybe get white. And then I'll go and get a white candle and put that in there and melt it exactly the same way.
You're doing this with white crayon or whatever color crayons?
Whatever color I
Okay.
got. But I'm going to choose red, and I
Uh-huh.
want contrasting colors. It just looks pretty that way. So
Okay.
I got red and then I got white. And that white's really going to stand out.
Okay.
But now I'm going to do it now. I don't want the red to harden yet. So what I'm going to do is put that white candle in the microwave and let it get hot, let it melt, and then I'm going to pour it in there, and it's going to make this explosion of pretty colors. Because see,
Cool.
they're not dry yet. Then I'm going to make another explosion.
Right, because if they're all wet.
They're all wet.
Yeah, it's like soup.
And none
So
of
you don't
them
want
are-
to stir it
don't
because
stir it.
because then it would blend the colors.
Yeah, don't
okay.
stir it. Just let it splatter in there.
Yeah, okay.
And even if it goes up against the wall of the
Uh-huh.
glass, it's okay because it's going to be really pretty.
Oh,
I mean,
that's
you'll be
cool.
amazed at what it can look like. And I'm very patriotic, so I'm going to do, say, a red, white, and blue cup.
Mm-hmm.
color. So I'm going to do blue next. I'll go ahead and put a couple of blue crayons in there. Same deal. Throw it in there and just
Cool.
watch how it explodes with color.
Oh, that's cool.
Cut the wick. Make sure you do that. And you got your candle.
And then you just let it sit and cool, and
It'll harden really fast
Yeah.
because it's paraffin. So
is there any particular like crayon? Is it any crayons we have sitting around you?
It doesn't matter.
Oh, as long as they're just crayons.
Just
Yeah.
crayons.
Made out
Plain
of
old
that
wax
stuff.
paraffins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's
That's
how you
pretty
can
cool.
make, and that's a really good project to do with the kids. You know, because kids need to know how, they need to work with their hands.
I was just say, wouldn't that be good to do like during fall break to give out for Christmas presents for Christmas?
Great deal.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, the best selling candles I have I do Love Spell from Victoria's Secret.
Really?
I'm going to give you one to take home.
Okay.
And then in the fall time, anything that has anything to do whatsoever with spice, pumpkin, cinnamon, any of that stuff works. And then I keep a lot.
And so, what'd you say? You just get the essential oils that smell like that, and then just add a couple drops. Is that what you do?
There's a difference.
Is it hot? As it's hot?
As it's warm.
Okay.
You don't want it, because what you're going to do is scald the fragrance. You don't want to do that. So it's still going to be runny, okay? It's still cannot be, but it's cooled
not
off.
Hardened.
It's cooled off a little bit.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. It's still runny, so you can mix those fragrances together. But now there's a difference between essential oil and then your fragrance oil. There's a difference between the two. Now, if you're looking for an all-natural candle, first of all, you need soy or you need beeswax. And that's why I have bees, so I can have beeswax has just went way up in price.
Really?
So that's another reason we have bees. I want the beeswax for candles. It's very natural. I can actually breathe when I'm blown away when I have one of those candles going on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I can do that.
Do you actually put the bee suit on and stuff to go out and get
I don't
the beeswax? How do you get away with that? Why?
Because they know me now.
So
really? If you act
the bees don't sting you?
They don't sting me.
Really?
I've been stung one time. I had the suit on. We had finished dropping the bees, and what I did is I took the suit off. And I didn't know it was there, so it was kind of in the sleeve part right here. And he was just afraid. He thought I was going to hurt him. And so he stung me right in there. That's the only time I've been stung.
Wow. That's amazing.
You talk to them. They're God's little creatures. Now, I won't walk up to a hornet and do that. Now, hornets are mean.
No.
Hornets are of Satan. And
so
are wasps.
Oh, yeah. No, but you know what hurts the worst, I think? I've been stung by a wasp, and I've been stung by a yellow jacket. The yellow jacket hurt me worse.
Oxford yellow jackets. What can I say? Really? Those things hurt. But here's what happens to a bee.
Hurt.
When a bee does not want to sting you, because a bee knows when it stings you, it's dead. Now, a wasp will come back for seconds and thirds. I mean, and hornets and yellow jackets and all of those.
Yeah.
They'll just keep coming at you.
But a yellow jacket dies, doesn't it?
No, that's the honeybee.
Oh, the honeybee.
Honeybee dies. If it stings you one time, it's gone.
Oh. That's sad.
Yeah, but here's what happens. God's creatures know. So this is what happens. I feed them with sugar water, sugar syrup. And so I'll just get just regular sugar.
Wow.
And put it in hot water, stir it up really good, let it dissolve. And I like to feed them a little bit of maple flavoring. They like that. They like
really?
And so I'll shake it up really good, and then I take it out. There's little containers. You turn it upside down, and so the lid has these little bitty holes in it. So you put it upside down, and it just works by nature. It doesn't all fall all over the place. It works by nature. And so the bees kind of get in there, and they start licking those little holes, tiny little holes, in the lid of the jar.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I go out there all the time and just lift up the box and check on them and make sure they're cool, make sure they're okay. But that's the big reason I want it. Plus, I love the honey. Honey's good for me.
Okay, so while we're on honey, now we've gone from candles to honey to beeswax, but I have to ask this: how do bees? How many times do they produce the honey all year?
About 3 times a year.
Yeah, I was
because
wondering.
we went out.
So like once every a couple months, every quarter, pretty much.
About every 3-4 months.
Really.
And so what'll happen is then we're going to go back in about 2 weeks. We're going to go back and rob them again. It didn't really have time. I was just anxious to get some honey. I wanted to see the process of it. So in June, we robbed them. but not the whole thing. We've got 3
Oh,
hives.
what does robin mean? You stole their honey?
I stole their honey. But now we leave food in there. I don't take everything. So I only wanted to take, so there are 10 racks to a hive. So,
Okay.
but I only wanted 2 racks. And you're not going to believe what I got. I wound up with 9 pints of honey
Wow, that's a lot
out
of
of
honey.
2 racks.
That's pretty
So
cool.
we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We actually got 5 hives because we've got a smaller one that sits on 2 big ones.
Wow,
And I've
that's
not
pretty
robbed
cool.
the whole thing yet. So
Oh, I tell you, I love honey.
and it's good for you. Use that instead of sugar.
Well, me and my husband, he loves to eat good food, and I love good food too because I like home
Natural
cooking.
stuff.
He does home cooking too, like vegetables and roast potatoes, carrots. But then we do salmon, asparagus, salads. We try to do a mix, tuna salad. But
I love tuna.
But I tell you something, when we started doing a while back, and that is we make one night a week, usually Wednesday night after church, peanut butter banana night.
I love that.
So we eat peanut butter banana with honey, or
I haven't
peanut.
tried that.
Oh, it's good with honey.
Uh-huh.
Oh yes, so good. Or I love peanut butter honey sandwiches.
That's
a lot of
good
people
too.
probably don't like that.
Uh-huh.
He eats peanut butter and jelly, and
I
I'll eat the peanut butter
I like
honey.
mine on. I want my bread lightly toasted.
Oh, you toast? Okay, now I don't toast. I toast if it's white bread, like the
Mm-hmm.
cheapest white bread, which is the Best Buy, or Wonder Bread, or one of those. But I'll tell you, I have read a lot of articles about how good sourdough bread is for your digestive system.
It's really good.
So me and him have actually started eating sourdough bread.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so good, and one sandwich will fill you up.
Mm-hmm.
It'll feel like you've ate 6 slices of
Do you do
the
chips
cheap
and stuff
white
with
bread.
it?
He does. I can. It fills me up so much.
You got to do your
He eats
kale chips.
Well, he eats. He used to eat Lay's, but they've got a lot of sodium, a lot of salt. So we actually have kind of swayed to, when I do buy chips, I buy like Cape Cod.
Oh, those kettle chips.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
much
those are
better.
really
But
good.
you can kind of
Less salt, less fat. Yeah.
You got a big
good.
trick though. You got to really read that label and
Yes, you
see what that
do.
label says, because it may say low fat in some, and then you'll kind of look at it and compare it to just a regular potato chip, and you'll say, "Whoa, that one's actually got more fat than that one does."
Well, a lot of things that are low fat have a lot more sugar.
So
that's where you have to really watch. If it's low sugar, it's got a lot of fat.
Well, they're thinking of ways to preserve them. Okay,
Yeah.
So it's going to be one thing or the other.
Yeah,
so you just got to check out. I guess
Are we almost out of time?
Yes.
Oh wow, it just goes by so fast.
A little bit
Well,
over a minute.
I'm getting more and more excited as the time goes by. We are going to get out in the field, so you're going to see some of our shows that'll actually begin in the studio, and then we may end where you are.
I hope so.
Have a great day.
We'd love to have you in our family. So if you would like to be part of the show and you own a business, we'd love to talk to you. So just give us a call, or you can send a text. You can send an email, whatever you want to. What's your cell phone number?
256-453-1270.
And I'm 256-659-4319. Or you can send an email. Kathy's going to get an email too. But my email address is donna@icradio.media. Again, thank you so much for watching. You're the apple of my eye. I know you could be doing anything else, but you're watching us right now. We definitely appreciate that. So you take care, and I look forward to seeing you. And the next show is going to be another exciting one.
Yes. Yes.
We're going to do a little thrifting, maybe some yard selling.
Oh, yeah.
Would you like to do that?
That would be great.
Oh, let's go ahead and do that. Thank you again so much for watching. You are so awesome. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio in the town of Geraldine, Alabama. We're your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television two different ways. Local in North Alabama, channel 182 on Charter Communications. You can also find us on Abundant TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Again, thank you so much for watching us every day, Monday through Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. And don't forget, 1 o'clock every single day, The Edge with Donna and Kathy. More exciting shows there as well. But right now, you're watching Afternoon Drive Home, and I wanted to talk with you just for a few minutes about 5 ways you can speed up your PC in less than 60 seconds. Remember those days we had dial-up? Phil and I used to own some internet companies, and it's called Internet Port. And that was back in the day, and we used to use modems. We didn't have the fast dial-up. You had to pay some big bucks to get the ISDNs and those kinds of things if you wanted those running into your business or whatever you were doing. And so we had dial-up, and I remember when we had the 28.8 baud modem, and we thought we were flying. We were faster than anybody in town, and then we went straight up to 56K. And everybody in town was talking about how fast we were. And then now, of course, we have the super fast dial-up. That was pretty good for back in the dial-up days. But we don't have to worry about busies and all those things. Now, sometimes if you buy a huge packet on internet, what's going to happen there? In a lot of cases, it depends on how many other people are on board and who are on the internet as to how fast your computer is going to go when you're on the internet. But what we're going to talk about right now is how to speed up that computer, okay? And fixing it is a priority because, we're all into fast everything, fast food, fast whatever, because fast food's not fast like it used to be. But anyway, we're still into fast. Okay, the number one thing, and by the way, you can do all this stuff in less than 60 seconds, or it depends on how old your computer is too, by the way. Just about the time you buy one, tomorrow it's already old. So you want to look at the speed and that kind of stuff on the computer that you're going to buy. I've got a Dell computer, or an HP computer, and I really do like it. And of course, Phil has always liked Dell computers, but there are a number of good ones out there. So it really depends on your processor that's inside your computer as well. We're going to talk about that in just a few seconds. Okay, number one, if your computer is running really, really super duper slow, restart the computer. You'd be amazed at what that does. And so the easiest is the easiest thing in the book. We've told people about that for years. If your computer's bogged down, just simply turn it off and restart it. Now, don't just turn the power button off, okay? Because let me tell you what happens with the little processor. If you're constantly just reaching for the button and you're not totally logging out, and you turn off the computer, what you're doing is you're building these little, kind of like these little snares inside the hard drive. Think of it as kind of like a scratched record. If you remember back in the day, you'd have scratches on your albums or on your little 45s, and it would just kind of slow it down, or it would just completely not work at all. When you totally turn off the power button and you don't totally log it down, you're creating those little snares on the hard drive, and it takes it longer to read data on your computer. So never just turn it off, okay? How many times I've heard people say, well, I just bought this computer, and now it's as slow as it can possibly be. Of course, we weren't in computer repair, but we were on the internet enough to know what people were doing through the computers. So I would ask. I'd let them go ahead and ask. Sometimes they would think it was my internet. It wasn't my internet, it was a computer. So they would say, I don't know what happened. It's a new computer. It's got to be your internet. And then I would just let them ramble again. And then I would just ask, okay, what do you do when you're turning? Show me what you do when you turn off your computer. Well, they just reach up there for the power button, ding, like that. Then guess what? It's slow. And it's just going to be slow when you do that. Again, don't just do it like that. You got to power cycle it all the way down. But that can be a real handy quick fix, because especially if you've been doing a lot of stuff, you've been watching a lot of YouTube, you've been doing videos and that kind of thing, it's just going to slow it down. So just simply turn it off and back on again. Switch out of the power saver mode. Let me explain how this works. Now, Windows 10, that's what I've got. Windows 10 comes with a default setting that saves you power so your computer doesn't die. The downside is that it slows the performance of your computer. So when you're plugged in, you need to switch out of the power saver mode. And if you don't know where it is, I'll tell you something else you can do. You can always go to the search. Every computer now has this little, it's like a little hourglass or a little magnifying glass. And if you'll click on that and just simply type in power saver mode, you'll pull it right up. But let me show you how you can do it. Okay, let's see. All you got to do is open up Control Panel, choose the hardware and the sound. Then what you want to do is select Power Options. And by the way, I get these on my iPad. I get these little pop-ups all the time. Get rid of that. Okay, so Power Options, and then you'll click the down arrow next to the additional, show the additional plans. Choose High Performance. That's all you got to do. Okay, so that right there is number 2 within itself. So we've already fixed some of it. Disable startup applications. Man, that's one of the worst things. It slows every single thing down. Like when I'm trying to get ready for you guys, I've used this laptop. It's about a year old now. And again, it's a HP laptop. Real simple. Now it's got a lot of hard drive. It's got a lot of gig. It's got a lot of everything to it. That way I can have a kind of a decent recording when I'm talking to you guys. Plus I use a lot of programs that are out there to help with the video quality as well. So let's talk about how to disable the startup applications. We've all had a habit of just clicking yes to everything. You think, well, I'll just click yes, now I'll mess with it later. Don't do that. You're opening up so many issues right there when you do that. Some of the notifications make programs start up automatically. The one thing, and I will tell you this, I really do like the Honey app when I'm shopping online. Now, shop local first. Always shop local first. But if it's something that you can't find in your area, go on ahead and go online and order it. But the only thing I really love about the Honey app is it does find the best price for me. And it kind of searches out. And also if you're ordering stuff like you're printing or anything like that, and you're going with vistaprint.com and you order, if you'll put in these little codes, you can actually save some money. And Honey will help you do that. The issue is, every single time I get into a website, here it comes. There's Honey. We're looking to save you money. We're looking to save you money. So that's the one app I do put up with because it has saved me quite a bit. So this is what you want to do. Don't click yes to every single notification. Some of those notifications, again, makes the program start up automatically. The problem is it slows down your computer from the very minute that you turn it on. Because what's it doing? It's out there and it's searching. It's searching in your hard drive. Every time you pull up a website, it's out there and it's searching. So again, it slows the computer down. Now, if you're not going to use them all, shut them down. Minimizing how many programs start running when you turn your computer on will make it run much more efficiently. Okay, what you want to do is type in on your computer, and this is, really get this down, okay? Type Task Manager into the Windows search box. Everybody's got a search box. Task Manager, type that in. Choose the Startup tab and you'll see all the programs that automatically start when you turn your computer on. Now this is how you get rid of them. Or you can actually change them or just disable them. Okay, again, I'm keeping the Honey because it really does save you some money. Okay, right click the programs you don't need and just choose Disable. That's all you got to do. And you'll be amazed at how fast your computer's working. Absolutely. I tape a lot of shows on this computer right here, and I have very few problems, and I got a lot of programs on there too. But just disabling this right here can really save a ton of time for you. Okay, disable shadows, animations, and visual effects. I remember back in the day when we didn't have Windows, and it was our first business, and I had to use a computer, and I would go online and didn't have all those little flashy things that were taking up a lot of space on my computer. And I'm going to tell you, the computers did run faster back then. Yeah. Now, you can't have those computers nowadays because the processors are so much slower than they used to be. So we had to get those faster processors so that we could have all the little pretty smiley faces and hearts and graphics and all those things, since we've got to have animation, you know. And I totally get it. I know why you would do that. And it makes your flyers look so much better when you're using flyers. But I'll tell you something else. I use something called Canva for my flyers, and I love it. And guess what? I don't have to download all these fancy smancy things on my computer and their stuff's a lot better than I could do. And I really like the flyers. They're very professional. I just love the way they look. Okay, disable shadows animations. Okay, Windows has some serious special effects on new computers. And they certainly put a good show. How unfortunately it's a good cost to your PC speed in the long run. It sure is. This is especially true if you don't have a newer model. If you want your computer to run as fast as possible, you want to disable all shadows, animations, and visual effects. Now, how do I do that? That sounds awful complicated. Now, you can do this. It's really easy. So go to your search box on Windows, and what you want to do is type in sysdm.cpl. Okay, that's sysdm.cpl. So you type that into the Windows search box, and then you just press enter. Okay, in the System Properties dialog box, you want to choose the Advanced tab. Choose Settings in the Performance section. Now, once you get to the Performance Options dialog box, you'll see all the animations and all the special effects. Turn off the ones you feel are unnecessary, or just take them all out. That's another thing. You're going to see how much faster your computer runs. If you're unsure which ones to choose, just select the Adjust for Best Performance at the top of the screen. Okay. And then that way you'll get rid of the ones you're not going to use. And then just tap OK, and you'll just be amazed at how much faster it is. Now be careful, again, when you're searching online. And then also, you'll be sent some emails sometimes. And so some of these emails are going to get you to click this, and especially watch Facebook. Okay, because there's little ads that pop up there all the time. And it looks good. I mean, it looks like something like, I saw one time, and it was about buying a chicken house, like a small chicken house. If you just have chickens just in your backyard, and you just want chickens for eggs. So I saw that, and it looked too good to be true. So I did a little bit of research on it, and that's what you always do, by the way. Before you click something, Google it or go to DuckDuckGo, whatever you use for your search engine, and Google the product and and you'll get, if it's a fraud, you'll know it right away, because there's going to be a lot of people complaining about it. So let's get back to the chicken house. Okay, I think it said it was like $40 or something. It's incredibly low. And it was a picture of a great big huge chicken house. Okay, a few things are going to happen. If I click on that, first of all, it's going to download a bunch of other trash. And you won't be able to look at your Facebook page, because you're going to be looking at all these ads coming up that are nonsense and just folks trying to rip you off and take your money. Just like your mother or your grandmother used to tell you, if it seems too good to be true, it's too good to be true. Nobody's going to sell something for a lot less than what it's going to cost them to manufacture it. So I looked up, I found this company. And another thing you can do, you can right click the ad, and then you can look at the information about this. Okay, that's going to give you a lot of information right there. Another thing is, if you look on their webpage and there's no phone number, there's no callback number, or if it's something that's, we like to buy from the United States, actually, here. That's what we do. Yeah, buy with pride, buy in the U.S. If it looks like it is a telephone number, but it's probably something international, run from it as fast as you possibly can. Okay, first of all, if it is good, it's going to take forever to get to you, and if it does get to you, you got to hope it's going to be in one piece. So we're talking about several things here. We're talking about performance, and we're talking about saving your money on your pocketbook. Okay, again, on your Facebook, if you click an ad that just seems too good to be true, it's going to be too good to be true. Plus, you're going to invite lots more of those crazy ads in, and not only slowing down your computer, but taking away your hard-earned money. I just don't want that to happen. Okay, I'm going to tell you how to do this again. You want to type in, go to your search button, the little hourglass. You want to go to that on your computer. Type in sysdm.cpl, and that's into your Windows search box, and then you want to press enter. In the System Properties dialog box, choose Advanced tab. then choose Settings in the Performance section. Now in that Performance Options dialog box, you're going to see all the animations and special effects. Turn off the ones you feel are unnecessary or all of them. If you're unsure which to choose, just select Adjust for Best Performance at the top of the screen and then tab OK. Now, this is something else. We kind of talked about that just for a second. Okay, turn on, this is number 5. This is going to help you have the best performance on your computer, and that lack of slowdown, you're going to see how much faster that your computer is. There's no point in buying a computer and it's slowing down to almost nothing simply because you don't know how to do this stuff. Okay, turn on automated updates and maintenance. Okay, I'm going to tell you how to do that. Windows is always doing something behind the scenes. Okay, when updating applications or testing your system, many things are going on in the background you're not even aware of. For optimal performance, you want to turn them off. Okay? A word of caution, however, if you choose to turn automatic updates and maintenance off, you'll need to update everything manually. So if you forget, leave your computer open. You're leaving your computer open to attacks from hackers. But I do. And anyway, okay, here's how you do this. You want to open the control panel. Choose System and Security. Find Security and Maintenance. Then you want to go on to the automatic maintenance. Choose Change Maintenance Settings. Okay, now when we get this is a recorded show. So what I'll do when I know this is going to air, I'm going to make a copy and I'll put this into the comment section, okay? Now, let's see. And then you choose the option that works best for you. Okay, now I'm going to give you some tips. I'm going to give you more ways to speed up your old computer. And these are some good ones right here, the 5 are. Let's go ahead and get it to it for you again. Okay, 6 more ways to speed up an old computer. Again, we talked about just turning it off. That definitely helps as well. Okay, here we go. All right, it came up. Okay, 6 ways to speed up an old computer. And I do appreciate you watching me, by the way. Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. Okay, so you remember when Windows 10 came out, it was like super fast. We were all talking about, wow, this is like heaven because it's so fast. But we're going to give you some more tricks. Okay, here we go. Okay, so one thing you want to do is free up and you want to optimize your hard disk space. That's really important as well. Okay, a nearly full hard drive is going to slow down your computer. So first, get rid of temporary internet files. That takes up more than you know, especially with all the flashy lights and all that stuff that we see on the internet. And you know, every time you watch a YouTube video or any video, even my videos, it's slowing down your computer just a little bit. So what you need to do is get rid of temporary internet files. Okay. Okay, it cleans up your cache and also your browser cookies. Oh, and another thing, when you go to a website and it says click cookies, don't click cookies. Get out of that. Don't do it. There's also an option for secure deletion of files. There's also tools built into Windows that can help, including one that consolidates and optimizes fragmented files to clean up your system. Okay, what you want to do is go to the search bar on your computer and type File Explorer. Okay, every computer can do this. Select File Explorer app and then look for Windows C onto the left. Now you want to right click on the drive and select your properties. Click on the Tools tab and under the Optimize and Defragment drive, click Optimize. Okay, this is an old tool. That's been out for a really long time. When we had the 56K baud modems, we owned our internet company. We would explain that to people. You've got to clean out the files. Okay, then for good measure, we're going to look up for ways to free up hard drive space. One thing that happens is when you're out there searching and you click on websites, you got data here, data here, data here, data here, just different places just all over the hard drive in your computer. And what's happening is when you open up your computer, that hard drive data is just looking, it's searching. But when you compress everything and get everything together, it's not having to take the time to lag and look for different searches. So that's a huge thing. That helped me to understand it when we had our internet service. Okay, click Start, then settings, then storage, system, and then storage. Okay, front and center, you'll see how much storage is being used and how much is still free. Under that, you're going to see a breakdown of what's taking up the most space, like your apps and features and temporary files. Okay, Storage Sense is a recent Windows 10 addition that automatically frees up space by deleting those temporary files and anything in the recycle bin while we're still in the storage settings. So toggle the Storage Sense button at the top to on, and then click Configure Storage Sense or Run It Now for more options. Now that just brought up something else. A lot of times we delete files. You know, we've saved some like the afternoon drive home videos and that kind of thing. We've saved all that stuff into the hard drive. You've watched YouTube, a number of that. You saved it. Oh, I'm going to use it for later. I'm going to save that to my computer. Oh, my dear, every time you single do that, you are taking up so much space on your computer. You really are. And then you throw it into the recycle bin and you think you forgot about it. It's still there. It's still in your hard drive. You've got to empty the recycle bin. Because if you don't do that, I mean, you still got it playing around in there. Okay, let's see. You're still close to your hard drive storage limit, so consider moving your photo, video, or music libraries to an external hard drive. That's what Phil has done. You can also use those little flash drives. Oh, and they are so inexpensive, $5-10 for a USB storage flash drive. Or you can use your favorite cloud service. The best cloud backup and storage services out there, and I do like this one. It's called iDrive, and it's not expensive, and it's a real good one. Okay, let's see. As an alternative, you can use free disk visualizing programs such as Win, and I'll spell this for you, WINDIRSTAT. And you can see what other applications and files are taking up the most space. Now, what I just told you, doing it on your own, is enough to really free up a lot of hard drive. Again, empty that trash bin as well. Be sure to get rid of programs you don't need. You know, sometimes we'll buy them and we'll think, well, I'm going to use that later on. You've never used it. Ditch it. Get rid of it. It's like old clothes in your closet. You're never going to wear them. Get rid of them. You're taking up too much space. Speed up your startup. This is real important. Now, while solid-state hard drives have become common in modern PCs, many budget models and older machines still have the old spinning hard disk drive. Now, if you have a computer in that second category, consider a hard drive upgrade. Consider that. SSDs boots up and launch apps in a flash compared to conventional HDDs. So you can install one in a second storage bay. If you can live without an optimal DVD CD drive. As a matter of fact, a lot of computers don't even have CD drives in them or DVD drives in them anymore. Kind of like cars. You buy cars now, they don't have them either. It can be removed and replaced with an SSD. Of course, it costs money. So think about that. Usually about $100, something like that. Now, before buying a new drive, check whether too many programs automatically start when you power up your PC. It could just be that. You don't have to have a hard drive. Another one. These programs take away many valuable resources. Now, this is what you want to do. And I'm looking at the time because I can talk about tech stuff all day long and just forget I'm on planet Earth. But anyway, let's go ahead and talk about this. In the search bar, what you want to do is type Startup and then click on Startup Apps. You'll see a list of each program, including what type of impact it has on system resources when you turn on your PC. Toggle off any that you don't need to start automatically, like your games and stuff like that, third-party programs, those things. Research any programs you don't recognize before making changes that could mess up your system. And I'm going back to Facebook again, where you click on something that just, it's too good to be true. It's some kind of an ad out there. And it just piles on these things. And what happens is and also you noticed you just search for something like, let's say you search for Dial soap, and all of a sudden you're getting all these crazy Dial soap things that are coming and hitting you. Every time you turn around, you can't search for anything without Dial soap coming up. It's because you've searched for it and you've allowed the cookies to come in on your computer. And that just revs up more time that it's taking away from you and from your hard drive. Don't do it. Don't click on those things. Okay, audio podcast stories. And hear about the world's largest site that tracks data breaches, and learn how you can find more and by searching on podcast. Now let's go ahead and talk about something else. And this is increasing your RAM. Now, if you only have 4 or 8 gigs of RAM and you do have a lot of multitasking, think about going to 12 gigabytes or higher if that's a sensible upgrade. I've got 12 on mine, and that does help. I mean, it's a huge help. Why? When programs and files in use fill up your available RAM, the computer processor has to read data from a much slower hard disk. Now, in the search bar, you want to type System and then click on System Information to see how much RAM you already have, okay? Now, boost your browsing. Let's talk about that for a second. A slow internet connection is just as frustrating as a slow computer. Absolutely. And you can do this manually in the browser add-on settings. Now, I want to tell you how to do it for Google Chrome. A lot of people are using Google. Okay, click on that little 3-dot menu that you see up there at the top, usually in the upper right-hand corner. Okay, you want to hover over More Tools and then select Extensions. Disable any extensions with the toggle button, or you can just click Remove and get rid of them once and for all. Now, if you suspect the problem is your wireless network, first check that the internet speed is what you're paying for. And I've got a really good website for you. It's called speedtest.net. And you can click and see how well it's performing. You can also perform it. If it seems like it's doing pretty good in the morning, but you notice maybe a lag in the afternoon, it could be because school is on, a bunch of kids are on the internet, and I don't care who they are, they promise you you're going to get all this fast speed. It really depends on how many other people in your geographical area are on the internet. Okay, so you need to ask that when you're searching for like Bob's Best Internet Service. Make sure you check on that. You can also tweak your router's settings to eliminate hang-ups and bottlenecks. Now use faster software. Okay, let's see what time it is. Okay, I got about 2 minutes left. Okay, use faster software. You can free open source software programs that not only save you a bundle of money, but they're also often leaner and faster than their bloated commercial counterparts. Some work right from your browser too. Okay, you want to remove pesky spyware and viruses. This is real important. In addition to compromising your privacy, malware and spyware will bog down your PC's performance. Warning signs can include a sudden slowdown, higher than usual data usage, programs and apps crashing, and random pop-ups. Oh, don't you hate those random pop-ups? You can combat the malware by scanning your machine regularly. Not sure how to use it? Remember also to update your security programs often so that you can stay protected from emerging threats. Okay, thank you again so much for watching Afternoon Drive Home. I hope these points right here have helped you. They've helped me with my computer. And I mean, there's no point in having a computer running slow when you can just do just little simple things. So what I'll do when the show airs, and it's on Facebook Live or however you listen to us, in the comments section, I'll go ahead and do a copy and a paste, and I'll get this out there and ready for you so that all you got to do is click on the directions and you'll know how to make your computer a whole lot faster than it's been being. Okay? Thank you so much for watching. I want you to do that so you can watch my shows. You know, that way you won't have any lag. Thank you again so much for watching Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio in the town of Geraldine, Alabama. And also for watching The Edge with Donna and Kathy. That's on every day, 1 o'clock. We appreciate you doing that. From 1:30 on, you'll be watching Afternoon Drive Home. Again, thank you so much for watching. And I hope you have a super duper awesome blessed day today. And you take care. Again, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio in the town of Geraldine, Alabama. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. Now, coming up at 1 o'clock every day begins the show. It's a new show, kind of revitalized show. Kathy and I had this back in the year 2005, I think it was. And so I moved off, and then she didn't want to carry on the show, so now we have reenacted the show The Edge with Donna and Kathy. So we'll be glad to see you guys every day at 1 o'clock, and then after that, afternoon drive home the rest of the day from 1:30 to about 2-ish like. So you can find us different ways. You can go to the website, and that's icradio.media. Another way you can find us is locally on television. That's Charter Communications Channel 182. You can also find us on Abundant TV. We're really glad to be in that lineup. And you can find us there on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Are you as big a techie as I am? I'm all into tech stuff. Every job I've ever had, except for this one right here, it involved being a techie. Well, this one does too. I had to kind of know stuff about computers in order to make this thing air and make it work. But I'm going to talk to you about 12 things you should never do online. Don't ever do these 12 things, okay? So make sure you listen really, really close. This is some great, great advice right here. We all make a lot of crazy, silly mistakes. I know I do. I make crazy mistakes all the time. We answer robocalls. Don't ever do that. I'm always getting those things. And those numbers do look like they're kind of familiar like, and they may even have your area code. You know, and you think, oh, it's probably one of my clients or something like that. And this is what you do. If there's like this little distance, there's a little bit of silence after you've said hello, and there's a little bit of a silence, it's going to be a robocall. Go ahead and hang up immediately. You don't even have to listen to the rest of it. And also, if somebody's going to call you and it's a recording, how serious can that be? You answer it, and then a few seconds, then they go, hello, thank you for answering the call, and it's a recording, and you know for good that it really is a recording. Hang up. Okay, so anyway, click links we should have those checked out first, and don't open up spam emails. Please don't do that, because if you do, you're going to get more than you bargained for. I promise. You'll start getting more spam emails when you open up just one. So be careful. Everyone is vulnerable and can be caught off guard. So that's what we do next. It really counts. So, do you believe the caller claiming to be an IRS employee use your credit card on a sketchy site or download files from a sender you don't recognize? Don't do that. If you do, the consequences can really be bad. And a little bit later on, if I get time, I want to tell you about this guy. He's a retired fire chief and Vietnam vet who was conned out of more than $100,000, all because he clicked a link he shouldn't have clicked. I don't want that happening to you. I know you work really, really hard, and so we're going to keep that money, okay? Use it for your savings. So that's why we have this list of 12 things that you should never, ever do online, along with do-it-yourself security tips as reminders, and just make sure that you're vigilant on everything that you click, okay? First of all, you might click something that slows down the computer. We don't want that to happen. We talked about that in a previous show. Okay, first, number one, don't give correct answers. Don't give correct answers when setting up security questions. That's how people can guess stuff. They'll get on your Facebook page and they'll say that you got maybe some grandkids that you just love. And maybe you put all those grandkids' names on security questions. Don't. As much as you love your grandkids, don't do that. Don't. If this has you scratching your head, it's like, well, why? We get it. Okay. But this simple trick helps you keep one step ahead of cyber criminals. They may think, a lot of people use their birthday. A lot of people use maybe their wedding anniversary date. It's just don't. Give some off the wall something. Think about it this way. If somebody knows your personal details about you, they're going to be able to answer these questions in a snap. Maybe a jealous former friend wants to wreak havoc on your accounts. Maybe a creepy cyber stalker has studied you for a while. You never know in today's world. Or maybe a potential hacker randomly saw an opportunity to break into your accounts. Sadly, it's too easy for them to collect all your personal info, and they need to accurately answer those security questions. So again, wrong answers. This is the time. I know in school, the right answer. This is the time to put the wrong answer. Make sure you remember what it is. That's why this is why you can throw away potential invaders for a loop by picking incorrect answers for your security questions. You're taking away their ace in the hole by not giving them the answers that people will expect. It helps to think of cybersecurity as a chess game. So let's think about it that way. You must stay one step ahead of your opponent in order to win. Of course, you'll have to remember those answers. Okay, number 2. And again, this is a really good, I love this article right here. It's 12 things you should never do online. Okay, don't give correct answers when setting up security questions. We got that one. Okay, number 2, did an ad send you to a new site? Don't click any download buttons, whatever you do. Don't. And I'm going to talk about why. So an ad worked. While browsing, you saw an ad box with an intriguing item and clicked on it, and it takes you to a shiny new site with even more goodies that you can buy. Oh, and that site has ads too. When it comes to ads, the internet's like the movie Inception. There are dreams within dreams and ads within ads. While you're here, don't download anything from that site. Remember that anyone can put out ads. All you got to do is copy and a paste. Anybody can do that. And many sites won't properly investigate their partners. That means that you might be browsing in a safe site and see an intriguing ad. Now, this happens on Facebook continuously. Click it, you might be taken to a new site filled with malware. And then guess what that's going to do? It's also going to slow down your computer. We've already talked about that. Generally, it's a good rule of thumb to avoid downloading when you can. On a related note, never download an ad. That's just inviting trouble. Most certainly is. Don't fall for fake posts. They're out there all the time. We've said this before, but it's worth repeating. If you get an email solicitation to participate in a survey or for a money-making opportunity, stay away from those. Something you didn't sign up for, the same goes for work-from-home gigs that seem just a little bit too good to be true. Open a browser window like your Chrome, Safari, Foxfire, whatever you use, and search for that company name and then add the word spam. Chances are if it's spam, someone else has reported it. And you'll get that info. Anything that sounds too good to be true is too good to be true. Always remember that. That's an old-fashioned idea, but it's true. If the email comes from what seems to be a real person, do a quick Google search or use one of these alternatives for the person's name plus the company name. If you have a LinkedIn account, go there and search for people. And that's another good thing. I love LinkedIn because somebody seems a little bit shady and they say that they work for the IRS or something. Check it out. You'll find it on LinkedIn if it's real or not. Smart way to confirm the person emailing you who works for the company they claim to. It'll be on LinkedIn. Check that the person posts regularly and is connected to others. These are other signs that the profile is real and not just a front. Back in the day, there were storefronts. I remember that happened a long time ago in Geraldine here. There was somebody acted like they were a storefront, and what they were doing is selling drugs in the back of the store. That can happen. This is your storefront front on the internet. Number 4, don't skip two-factor authentication. Use this two-factor authentication anytime a website or an app offers it. It involves a couple of extra steps, but the purpose is to protect you. If someone tries to access your accounts from a device the website doesn't recognize. I'll tell you, the Social Security Administration is a hassle, but at least you know they're on top of it. Anyone who uses Facebook is already familiar with 2FA. Now, if you use work, public, friend, or family's computer or a new device to sign in, Facebook requires you to verify that it's really you by using the 2FA, and that's a two-factor authentication. This is a no-brainer for any financial account, and we recommend it for your email and any service that has your payment info also. Another thing, we've talked about this a couple times on the show, and that's when you may get something, maybe you deal with XYZ bank company, and you get an email and it looks exactly like the logo, and they tell you you've got to confirm some information by clicking a link. Don't do that. Never. I don't care how good it looks, don't do it. If you feel like there's a possibility it could be true, the best thing to do is not click on the link and just go to their website, the one that you trust, okay? All right, don't reuse passwords or password formulas. Like you'll never use a password like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or you'll never use anything like ABCD 1, 2, 3, 4. Or even I've known people who've used password as their password. A lot of sites won't even let you do that anyway. How do you remember them all if you don't use a password manager? You don't write them down, store them on the computer, or reuse them, do you? So how do you safely store passwords so you don't have to memorize them? We don't recommend you use the password formulas that are easy to hack, like your website, a birth date, or as a Google 1225, Adobe 1225, or Facebook 1225. That would be so easy to crack. So don't do that. Okay, and then also do-it-yourself advice. Let me mention this to you. Use a safe and secure password manager, and you can also find a free password generator that gives you crazy, impossible to hack or memorize passwords. And it'll be like a whole bunch of symbols and maybe a hashtag or something like that. Use some caps, lowercase letters, and just let it be weird. Like let's say you use Internet One, okay, for your password. Instead of capitalizing I for internet, capitalize T, and then leave it lowercase letters. Just do it variables like that. And it's going to make it really hard for a hacker to figure out, okay? So I'm just looking out for you, okay? All right, number 6, don't use public Wi-Fi. We're all guilty of doing that because it's convenient and it's handy, and you're thinking, well, that way I'm not using so much of my usage on my internet. But let's see why they say this. You know the saying, don't use public Wi-Fi is like saying don't go out in public. I get it. It's impossible, but you really should be careful about what you do in a public network. Save the banking for a trusted network and be extra careful about the sites you visit and the links you click. Your best bet, though, is to use a VPN. Now, if you use public Wi-Fi, practice safe surfing. A virtual private network, that's a VPN, we mentioned that a second ago, creates an encrypted connection through a secure server that allows you to browse the internet. I know at the hospital they've got that, a VPN. And so I know we had to take Mother to the hospital a couple of times. And so, I mean, you sit there and you wait, you don't know what's going on. So I was actually doing some business there, but I used their network. So everything was cool. Okay, they create again an encrypted connection so that you can browse. Now, businesses have been using VPN technology for years, and more private users are adapting to it. So you're really not sure how it works. I'm going to tell you I'm going to give you 6 questions about VPN if we get time on this. Okay? All right. Number 7, don't fight on social media. I said that like really slow, so I really want you to get this one. Don't fight on social media. Time and time again, research shows social media makes us depressed, angry, and isolated. Now, during the pandemic, we believed social media would bring us together, but we got sucked into scrolling through endless timelines, comments, and arguments. Who wants to hear arguments? No one does. Stay away from it. Plus, you might lose your car. There was a girl, almost did when her parents saw her complain about the car that they bought for her. Another thing you don't want to do is get on there and argue about your boss online. You know, bosses check your Facebook page. And guess what? Before you get hired for a job, everybody does it now. When you blow it out there for the whole world to see, yeah, prospective employers going to look at it too. Okay, now do it yourself advice. If you can't break up with Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or whatever channel monopolizes your time and incites the scraper in you, just use common sense. Don't post anything that you would want your grandmother to see or that would come back and haunt you when you look for a job later, or that some website could post as an example of what not to do online. That's something good to think about. Absolutely. Okay, don't post sensitive photos online. Speaking of not posting anything that could haunt you later, we're talking about things that may seem innocent, like photos of your kids or your grandkids. There's a whole conversation on the internet about whether or not parents should post photos of their kids online and share them publicly. In 20 years, will your children thank you for sharing their private lives with the world? One woman even sued her mother and won after she refused to take down photos of the grandchild. Not to mention, child predators set up fake social media profiles and troll pages looking for innocent victims. I got a question for you. At what age do you think it's okay for a kid to have a Facebook page? Just let me know. Comment on the section below, okay? At what age should a child have a Facebook page? My son is 43 and I might be thinking about him not having one. Do-it-yourself advice. Change your privacy settings on Facebook, Twitter, and Google so only your closest contacts can see your pictures. And so a lot of us, that's how you have family who lives out of state, may even live out of country. A lot of folks who are, working as missionaries, that's how they keep up with their family. Just set the private settings so only your close friends can see those pictures. Don't share full names or specific locations if you have kids at home. Share only with people you actually know. And you check with other parents before sharing photos of their kids. Wipe out any hidden data from photos, okay? Make sure you do that. Don't post vacation photos or updates while you're gone. All you're doing is opening up for criminals to come in and rob you. Okay, that's what people looking for, those things. And so let's talk about that for a second. If you venture out for a road trip or even just a day away, think twice before you put it on social media. It's so tempting to share the moment updates and pictures while you're on vacation, but think of them as public announcements that say, I'm out of town. My house is empty. Go burglarize me. Wait until you get back home and then post your photos after that fact. Do-it-yourself advice. You've got a home alarm system, and I've got Simply Safe, by the way, and I love it. You can monitor your property and get alerts while you're away. I love it. It's so fun. Sometimes I'll be on a sales call and I'll be out in the car, maybe writing up a contract or something like that. And my Simply Safe will go off and it'll be feel like outside mowing the grass or something. I think it's pretty cool. Thieves are less likely to break into homes that are protected by alarms, cameras, and motion sensors. Simply Safe is real easy to install. As a matter of fact, Phil's installed ours. You can always call a professional. And so it's a good deal that we can get for you. As a matter of fact, they're going to become one of our new sponsors pretty soon. And I'll keep you involved on that. Never diagnose yourself on WebMD or similar sites. You're not a doctor, okay? Let's say you have a persistent cough. When you've searched online, you've diagnosed yourself with pneumonia. You could think you've got TB, lung cancer, heart disease, acid reflux, and chronic bronchitis. After all, these conditions share similar symptoms, okay? And you have just freaked yourself out. You're just like, tell everybody to pray for you because you got cancer or something. Sites like WebMD, Clinic Mayo, and Cleveland Clinic are packed full of good, reliable information, but that doesn't mean they should replace your doctors, okay? It's even more dangerous to use YouTube to look for medical information. You have so many people pretending to be stuff that they're not. So just use your own doctor. Just like how, don't listen to anything when it comes to politics, your health, or anything like that. Just, and don't listen to the news, whatever you do. Okay, leave your diagnosis to medical professionals and use those medical reference sites to learn more about what your doctors tell you. And always consult with your doctor before beginning any treatment or consider setting up a virtual appointment. You can always do that as well. Don't drunk shop online. What does that mean? Okay, let's say you've done something you shouldn't have done, but you've had a glass of wine or two. Apparently, drunk shopping is a billion-dollar industry on Amazon. A 2019 survey showed 79% of alcohol consumers made at least one drunk purchase. Clothing and shoes are the most common drunk purchase. So just don't do it, okay? Set up spending alerts with your bank. That's what we do. And we've got some folks trying to get in on our bank account that way too. Most banks will allow you to set a dollar amount. If you go over that dollar amount, you'll get a text message or email. That way you'll have time to cancel your orders and check your bonuses, check your messages. Now, as a bonus, if someone gets hold of your credit or bank card and makes purchases, you'll get alerts if they exceed your limit. And we've got that set up too. And also, we let our bank, that's what I love about Liberty Bank. They're a small bank, and you can just call them and get something done. But when we go anywhere out of state, we always call them and let them know we're out of state. Otherwise, can't use our debit card. And that way, we've got it set up to where if it is used out of state, that we get an email alert. So call your bank and make sure you get that alert. But now do remember to call them before you leave out of town and let them know that you are actually leaving for out of town. Don't take quizzes online, especially on Facebook. Please don't do that. I'm going to tell you why. If you're logged into a website and take one of those tempting quizzes like which friend's character is your soulmate, you already got a soulmate. You got a spouse at home. You don't need to know anything else. You're potentially handling over personal information about you, about yourself. And when you take these quizzes, you're helping websites create profiles about you so they can sell your information and target you with advertisements. Yes, that happens. And some quiz sites are downright sketchy. You never know who is watching, what type, or what could happen when you hit submit. Okay, so be really careful about those as well. Okay, let's see. Do I have time? Oh, yes, I do. Okay, so we talked about don't do quizzes. Don't do all these crazy things, okay? All right, now there was another article that I wanted to read to you, and let's see, about not fighting. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is advice, and we talked just a few minutes ago about fighting with people on Facebook. First of all, it's not worth it, okay? Not everybody's going to agree with you 110%. It's just not going to happen. I don't care who you are and how awesome you are. You're not going to have that. Folks are just not going to agree with you. Best thing to do is just step away from it and get away. All right, now I'm going to give you tips right here. Does a VPN slow down your connection? And we talked about that and how a VPN works. And I don't have a whole lot of time, but I'm going to skip over some of this. Okay, let me go ahead and click right here and all these things. Okay, how does a VPN work? Now, this is a network that you can use, a virtual private network, which is safer to use when you're out in public. A virtual private network is a layer of protection between your devices and the internet. It hides your IP address and your location, and it encrypts your data. Think about some of the movies that you've looked, like let's say the 1990s and the year 2000 when the internet first came out. Some of those movies that we watched have actually come true in the last few years, haven't they? It's where somebody takes your identity or somebody tracks you down. They can do it now. That's why you need to make sure you use a VPN network. A VPN protects you and your online traffic from snooping and interference from hackers. They're all out there. Governments and your internet service provider. VPNs keep your online activity private and allow access sites and services that could be restricted in some places. There's an important, remember this, trustworthy VPNs will never keep logs of your activity or connection. ExpressVPN doesn't, and that's a company that you can check out. And they say the same, and they also have some free options out there. Okay, now, are VPNs actually helpful, or is it more of a conspiracy nut thing? Yes, I've got a tin hat that I wear sometimes. You know, I'm very, very selective. And you need to be too. The book of Proverbs tells you that. You need to seek information. Don't just go plowing into something. That's how I've made my biggest mistakes, is not thinking about something. My granddad always said, both of them, both my granddads, they would say, before you make a big, big purchase, don't just jump into making that purchase. You need to sleep about it. Sleep on it overnight. And then make that decision whether to buy that big ticket item, okay? Oh, that's such great advice. It really is. Data collection comes in many forms, and sometimes you don't even know what's happening to you, like when it's, if it is a result of a hack. Sometimes it's all about capturing your data, like the tracking greedy advertisers and your internet service providers do, but that doesn't mean you've got to deal with it, okay? You have the right to privacy online, and a VPN can help you get your privacy back. Advertisers look at your location and online behavior to build a picture of you as a consumer. How many times have you searched for baking soda, and then all of a sudden you start getting all these ads coming on? You checking your email, you get on Facebook, all this kind of stuff, and you start seeing ads for baking soda. That's what they're doing. They're tracking your info. That's why the ads you see online hit so close to home. It's just really creepy, and there's a good reason to shut that down, okay? Now, your ISP is aware of anything that you do online. So when you access a website without a VPN, you're being connected to a site through your internet service provider. Now, the ISP, the internet service provider, like Phil and I used to be a long time ago, assigns you a unique IP address that can be used to identify you on the internet. Because your ISP is handling and directing all your traffic, it can see exactly which websites you visit. Using a VPN is an easy way to make sure you're not giving away that info. In short, a VPN is a great fit for anyone that's concerned with online privacy. But I'm just going to tell you, from being in this type of world, in this industry for a very long time, somebody right now sitting in the garage trying to figure that out. So you're going to be constantly looking for new ways. Does a VPN slow my internet down? If you use the VPN in the past years, you may be thinking privacy sounds great. But VPNs make everything run too slow. And it used to be true. It really was back in the day. In some VPNs, it could be the case, but not with ExpressVPN. Now, are my Google searchers going to be in another language? Some people have these horror stories, okay, of signing up for a VPN only to discover all their usual sites loaded in another language. And that could be true. So that's something you want to check with when you're shopping your VPNs. Now, with a VPN, help me from getting hacked. Staying anonymous online isn't just about hiding from advertisers or blocking your browsing history. It's the truly good ones protect your security online too. Okay, so again, that's another good thing to look at. Especially true if you often access public Wi-Fi networks. It's easier than you can imagine for a hacker to get on that same network and access your personal data. It seems all creepy, like, no, that's just Donna having a moment with her, full 10 cap or whatever. No, this is really true. This stuff is really happening. Okay, I think we got time for one more. Yes, we do. Does a VPN really do more than let you browse with nobody knowing what you're browsing about? Incognito. Okay, browsing incognito on Google Chrome, Foxfire, Edge, Safari, or your browser of choice simply means your browser will stop saving data locally. That's all it means. Oh, and another thing, sometimes you're going to go to a website and they'll ask you if you want to put where you're at on their site. No, never do that. Never, ever. It's too much for a hacker. They can't help themselves. They're going to start getting into your info. Sites you access won't appear in your history, and autocomplete won't be influenced by what you search for. Ultimately, these browser functions do nothing to protect you and your connection from prying eyes. A VPN is the only true way to keep your identity secure online while browsing incognito. Is best to keep your internet history private. So, take our word for it, okay? Try it for yourself. And just make sure that you don't let these hackers have your business. This is hard-earned money. God gives it to you, right? And so we are the keeper of what He gives us. And so it's up to us to be really smart about what we do. I've known so many people, I'm talking like within my family, who've actually given away a lot of money. Yes. By trusting somebody they have never met on the internet. I mean, they've met, it's the internet, for goodness sakes. You don't really know them. And I would be really careful too if you're going to dating sites. I know it's rough enough for you here locally, but I would be really careful about going to dating sites. I've heard some good success stories and that kind of thing too, but I've heard a lot of bad ones as well. Thank you for watching Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio in the town of Geraldine, Alabama, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television 2 different ways. You can find us on channel 182, which is on Charter Communications, and Abundant TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. I think you're super awesome. And I think you're very super awesome for watching this show. And remember, The Edge with Donna and Kathy will be on at 1 o'clock every day. And that's Central Time, Monday through Friday. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fizel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio. In Christ Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182. I didn't tell you this, Jimmy. You're on television, channel
Great.
182 on Charter Communications, and that's local North Alabama. You can also find us worldwide on Abundance TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And so Rob Patz, who's actually the owner of Abundant TV, was on the show just a few days ago. And so mentioned something pretty awesome. We're going to be in Australia. There is a Christian, it's kind of like a satellite dish, much bigger than Dish or anything like that. And so they've invited the station to be there as well. So that's going to mean about 1 million plus more listeners. And we're really happy about that happening. So thank you, Rob, for everything you've done to make all this stuff happen. And I know you're a hard worker. And it's about time to get you back on the show again. Okay, I have, we have great guests on this show, and that's why we're popular. And just wanted to mention a guy that we've been playing his music. His name is Jimmy Reno, and he's with us right now. Jimmy, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. I'm very happy to be here with you guys.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jimmy and I found out we've got a lot of stuff in common. We're both
Yeah.
techie.
Yep. Both
Yeah.
Alabama.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's another thing.
Mhm.
Part of Alabama. What part of Alabama are you
I live in Aniana in Blount County.
in? Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
north central.
And you know
part of the
something?
States.
I know you're from Aniana because of the way you pronounced it. I get tickled at news people.
Yeah.
they'll talk about something happening and they'll say Oni Anna.
Yeah. Or one oncha. I've heard that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a little place I'm in Geraldine. I don't know if you've heard of
Oh
Geraldine.
yeah, I have.
Oh.
Mark 209's piano player Josh Pope. He lives in
Yeah.
Geraldine.
Uh-huh. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had Vestal Goodman just up the road. And, so yeah, we're pretty well
Yeah.
known. And also Pat Upton, who was with the Spiral Staircase way before you were even born. He had this show, it's a song. It was a hit. He was on American Bandstand and everything. We were so proud of Pat. And the song was I Love You More Today Than Yesterday, but Not As Much As Tomorrow. That was
Oh, I
Pat's.
know the song. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So rough
I
and
didn't
right.
immediately recognize his name, but I definitely know the song.
Oh, yeah, right here in
Yeah.
this neck of the woods. So we're real proud to have you on the show with us as well.
Thank you.
So we play your songs, we play your music. And so you've been getting requested a lot here lately, Jimmy. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Everybody that requests, I greatly appreciate it. A lot of the songs I write most of my songs, and when the Lord gives them to me, my prayer is that the lyrics, that it touches people's lives or it reaches somebody, has an impact on them. And without stations like yours playing the music, there's no way it can reach anybody. So I'm very grateful for everything that you guys do as well.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. Really, we're not the boss around here. The listeners are.
Yeah.
And so what happens, hey, it takes a big load off of me and Phil.
Yep.
So what happens is we've got it set up. It's kind of the promoters, we have promoters and that kind of thing too. But
Mhm.
really it's listeners. And so what happens is the listeners will go on the website, and that's icradio.media, and they'll search for your name and they'll request music. So at the end of the week, we do the top 30 requested songs. And so feel really proud because our listeners are the best that there are out there. So let's talk about your music. I'm so anxious. I'm always anxious to talk with songwriters. I just think it's a gift from God. And I mean, it's not a gift that was given to me at all.
For years, I tried to write. I've been singing since I was 4 years old. I started singing in church. My dad would stand me in the chair up to the microphone so I could reach it. And he'd play the guitar and I would sing. So singing is all I've ever known. And a few times over the years, I would try writing, and I would write something, then I would kind of read back over it, and I think, that's absolutely terrible. I'm not going to do anything with that. So I kind of put that on the back burner for a long time. And I was with Mark 209 previously before this. I had been with those guys in another group, and then we formed Mark 209. And after, I was with them a total of 6 or 7 years. But one morning the Lord woke me up and he was giving me a dream, and the song was, it was lyrics, and it was to the song Breaking Free. which is my current release. I just went out September the 6th. And um, I, I heard the melody for the chorus. And I had the lyrics in my head. It woke me up. I could not go back to sleep, so I started writing them. And then after I wrote that song, the more just kept coming. And I write with my cousin. So, after I got the chorus and the melody, I sent it to him to help with verses. And, then we ended up co-writing. And once we had so many songs written, I started praying, asking the Lord, Lord, what do you want me to do with these songs? I thought maybe I'll use them as a demo to see if other people want to record them. And it just kind of organically evolved into the Lord leading me into going into the solo ministry, which honestly, I've always loved being with groups. I love harmony, and I never saw myself as a soloist, nor did I have any goals on being a soloist. Um, but sometimes God moves us into areas that are outside of our typical comfort zone, which for me this was. But when the Lord told me to go, I prayed and I prayed, and like a lot of people, I kept saying, God, are you sure? Are you sure you want me to do
And
this?
God loves it when we say that. So I say
Yeah,
that all the time. God, are you
yeah,
really sure?
yeah, yeah. Am I hearing you right? So, but once I got that peace about it, and I knew that's what I was supposed to do, um, I moved forward and been writing steadily since. So
That's
that
pretty amazing. It,
it is. God is absolutely amazing.
do you play
So,
any musical instruments?
well, I play a trombone. um, I played steel guitar for years, taking lessons. I haven't played it in a long time, and I've never played it professionally. Those are two instruments that I know how to.
Mm-hmm. You and I are techies. We talked about that at the
Yeah,
start of the show. And I mean, I love technology. I mean, it's really made life a lot easier for me. COVID hit, and a lot of us would have just been out of business without those resources. So,
yeah.
how did you bounce back from COVID? I know a lot of people, and they're bouncing back, by the way, and people are so eager to get out and listen to you. I think it's amazing.
COVID, when that hit, at the time I was still with Mark 209, and our bookings were just being, of course, I mean, they were being canceled because of, either COVID being in the churches, or the churches were afraid that it would come in. And
Mm-hmm.
so, most of our dates for that year were canceled. We did very few dates compared to normal. So I had suddenly for the first time in years, I had a lot of time at home, which I haven't had in a very long time. And at first it was nice because I was able to catch up with family and spend more time with my kids. I have three grandkids, and I started enjoying time with them. It was during that period um, that we were home. That's when God really started dealing with me on making the solo album and going in that direction. Um, so for me, that time off and that year off, basically, and we did sing some, just not like normal. And but that time off, God used that, and that's where I realized that what He was calling me to do and what He wanted me to do. And so for me, that was a transitional period.
Mm-hmm.
And then that things are better now, thankfully, with COVID, and a lot of the places are open again. But during that time that I was off, that's when I was writing, I was planning what I was going to do, and so that kind of gave me time to get things going solo wise. So that's how that impacted me.
Yeah, we had the church, online, Facebook Live, and that
Hmm.
kind of thing. And it doesn't. I mean, I can do it when I have to, but I'd rather not because my mind wanders.
Yeah,
Because I'd be sitting there watching the service and then look up, go, "Ooh, there's a spider web." I mean,
yeah, I know.
it's
It
kind
is.
of,
Yeah.
it was tough on me. So I'm glad everything opened back up again.
Oh gosh, I am too. Yeah, that was a rough period,
But you got to do what you
especially in
got to
this
do.
business. Yeah.
Got to do what you got to do. And I'm really glad I had shared this with you earlier. I had never heard of Zoom until all
Yeah.
this stuff
It's
happened.
all this hit. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my friends who's in television broadcasting said, Donna, you really need to get into Zoom. And I said, what's a Zoom? And then it really saved the business, I think, and I think what was meant, because sometimes I think things are meant to harm us, and you just gotta, open it up and sit still and listen, you know,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
let it work. So then that's what you did. You just sat
Yeah.
still and listened. But I think we all kind of needed some time off. I think we were all just going at such a fast pace that we weren't able to make things accomplished. And
Yeah.
I've had a lot more accomplishments since then.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it affected a lot of people that way. I had a conversation with Ernie Haas, and he was telling me during that period he was able to, to reevaluate things, spend time with his family. Um, he found it much the same way. And then during that period, God gave him songs to write, which he typically didn't do a lot of, but he did a lot of writing during that period. And so I think God used that period for a lot of people for them to grow, to be a season of change or transition.
Well, I kept thinking about a boss I had a long time ago. I was 25 years old, and I had my first management job with this huge cosmetic company. They were headquartered out of New York, one of Donald Trump's
Hmm.
buildings, by the way.
Oh,
And
well,
so I remember my boss. My boss was, she said, "All right, you're young, you got a son." And she, over and over and over, she would say, God's got to come first. And I felt I was her trouble child. She had to call me in a lot because I was overdoing it. And so she said, "You're going to burn out." And I said, "But I'm doing my job." And she said, "Yeah, but God's got to come first, family second. This job comes third." And I
yep,
said, "You're my boss telling me that the job is third? Really?" you know, and she was right. And man, I thought a lot about that when COVID hit.
yeah,
Our
yeah, yeah.
family
That
started
that's
becoming first,
yeah, that's
second.
very very biblical. God calls us. We're of course called to honor Him and to love Him first, and the second is your family, and third is your vocation or ministry, whatever the case may be. But yeah, that's and I think when people get those out of order or confuse that order, that's where you really start having problems within the family.
Yeah, really,
And
because sometimes there were times I thought I knew more than God, and I found out
yeah,
I found out really
yeah,
fast I did not know more than
yeah,
God.
yeah, yeah. I've been there where I've questioned things too, and thankfully God has a lot of grace, and
Oh, I'm glad He
still guides me
does.
where I need to go. Yeah.
I'm His problem child too. so, so yeah, you
Yeah.
have to just sit back and listen and take it all in. Let's talk to young folks who have, or they're just thinking about the music world. I've got a song, I'm writing songs, and I'm going to get it out there. If you could make three suggestions to folks who are just, and it could be older. Bonnie Raitt didn't get started until what, she was in her 40s or 50s, something like that. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
late
Yeah.
bloomers out there. So let's talk to some folks who are just getting into the music business. What would you suggest, because you're successful, what would you suggest folks do to get started?
If we're talking singer songwriter, um, and first of all, if you sing and you do have the ability to write, I think that's the best chance you can have it being successful is if you're recording your own music. Um, because of royalties and when you record somebody else's songs, it can really get really expensive.
Yeah.
So if the person that is wanting to get into the music business is a singer and a songwriter, that is one huge way to help yourself be successful. If you're able to do that, or people who maybe are just into songwriting, um, that's all about networking, making contacts, um, depending upon the genre, that you're in. But um, technology now has helped that a lot as well because there's groups that you can get involved with on social media that have songwriters in them, and you make all kind of contacts in those groups and meet with other people. So that's always key with songwriting classes to learn how to write us. Sometimes we get lyrics or you hear things, but you may not know how to put those lyrics down effectively with things like syllable counts, or rhyming patterns, but there's classes you can take for that, to improve. And I think we should always be trying to improve whatever craft we're doing.
I do too.
So I would strongly encourage some kind of a songwriting class for songwriters. And then, of course, there's people who just sing and they don't write, and of course, I've been there as well. So, for when you're in situations like that, if you're looking to make an album, then you can also join those same groups, even if you don't write, because you're being exposed to songwriters and you're still making those connections with people, who may have material that you can go through and listen to and record. But technology has absolutely transformed the music industry, in my opinion. Now it's so much easier to have songs recorded, have songs mastered. It's a lot less expensive than what it used to be.
Hmm.
You no longer need a record label if you want to send a song out to digital platforms, or if you want to send a song out to radio. Just about everything now can be done independently. So that makes it a lot easier for people to try to get going in the industry, I think.
Oh yeah, it makes it a lot more affordable too, because I
Yeah.
mean you can go broke if you're not careful.
Oh yeah.
If you didn't have
Yeah.
all these great
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. You could still go broke, with it, of course, but um, because it is music is not it's not cheap. You have to put the money out to get the product out, of course. Um, and then quality for the people who are going to sing and record. Quality is extremely important, because if the recording, if your music doesn't sound quality, then people are just not they're not going to want to hear it. So you want to make that impression that it's good quality music. So, I would also stress that quality is very, very important.
Absolutely. I grew up in the days of the 1970s, 60s and 70s, and we had records, full
Hmm.
45s, and then the albums and all that. So kids always want to go the opposite of whatever their parents are. So I'm hearing vinyl is back.
But oh yeah, yeah, vinyl is. That's kind of caught back up. Now I'm a vinyl collector.
Hmm.
But when I grew up, well, really the '80s were more my growing up years. But my dad always kept a record player, and so I grew up listening to records, and that still love them, and I still collect them now. Um, so yeah, so I've always loved vinyl, but vinyl has kind of caught back on. A lot of the artists currently are releasing vinyl. Vinyl's more expensive um, to put your album out on,
Hmm.
and so but yeah, it's I would love to have one eventually. I'm going to try to get some vinyl out at some point. Um, Probably won't be this project because of the extra expense, but I would love to do it. It seems to really be back in trend now for
Oh
artists.
yeah, I really like it, and there's just something about a record album, because of course
Hmm.
I grew up in the day. But I'll tell you something I never liked was 8-track tapes. So you probably don't even know what I'm talking about.
Well, I remember an
Judy is
eight-track
an
tape in
eight
my
track
dad's
tape.
car. Yeah, when I was, it was really cassette by the time I was, for most of my memories from growing up. But I do remember an eight-track player in my dad's car.
Oh,
Um,
those were horrible. I mean,
yeah.
and I had a huge collection because I've loved music my entire life, and so it's like it took up the entire back of my car. Here I am, a teenager driving around. Mostly, you'd have to take all that stuff out to get extra kids in the car with me. You know,
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
and they were really. I'll put it to you this way: we were moving back from Charlotte, North Carolina, back home to Geraldine a few years ago. My daughter-in-law comes into the garage helping me with some boxes, and she goes, "What are these?" I said, "Get lost." So they were terrible. But I'll tell you, my husband sings, he's a singer. And he and his sister used to sing years and years ago. And so I kind of bummed around with him. She moved to Mississippi. So I kind of bummed around with him just a little bit and sang some background for him. But I'll tell you what I hated with the cassette tapes with the background music. And it never failed. So if you left them out in the car too long or
Yeah.
not,
They're warped. Yeah. Yeah.
or somebody would say, "Can y'all sing that again?" And then we'd have to rewind the thing all the
Rewind
way
it. Yep.
back. Be kind and rewind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I love technology. I just love what it's done.
Well,
So yeah,
most cars now, most new cars, they don't even come with CD players or anything anymore. Just the USB port for the digital music off your phones.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, that's changed a lot.
Yeah, and I'm old enough to remember. I'm so much older than you. You could be my kid. So what I remember back in the day is when my dad bought a car one time and had to pay extra to have actually a radio, and then later a CD player. You had to pay extra to have that in your car. And
Oh
so I
wow.
think
Yeah.
we're back to that again. I guess where if that's what you want, you got to pay extra for it.
Yeah, it's not coming standard anymore in the newer cars. From my sister had recently purchased a car, and she couldn't find anything that had the CD players in them that just came that way
Hmm.
from the factory. So
Yeah,
yeah, but
craziness,
mhm.
crazy. So now, how would you describe your style of
uh,
singing?
of singing the music itself, or
Hmm.
traditional country, '90s country.
Hmm.
Um, that I think '90s country would be pretty accurate. '90s country with Christian lyrics.
Hmm. It's
Um,
good. So if you've
Thank
never
you.
heard this
Thank
guy,
you.
you got to check it out. It's really good. And again, he's being requested a lot. So that as well. So do you think music changes for the good, or I mean, how do we adapt to change?
I'm really not that. I'm not a big change guy. I still like 80s pop. So, um, but I think
Well, I'm
everybody,
still into the Bee Gees from the 70s.
I was going to say, I think depending upon the generation you're in, most people probably still prefer the music that they grew up with. But I do think overall, I think in general, music, some music trends are for the better. I don't think they all are. I prefer the 90s country sound. Obviously, that's what I do. And, I like some of the newer stuff, some of the newer country, but there's a lot of it that I don't really care for. Um, and then some of the changes where, we've progressed to where there are things that you used to wouldn't have heard in a song that wouldn't have been allowed on the radio, lyrics that aren't, completely family friendly. And, that's not a change for the better, in my opinion. Um, so I think some changes can be positive, and of course there's other changes that are not as good.
Mhm.
Um, but I mean, change is a part of life. So, it's something that we have to adapt to and deal with.
You
As
got to
far
be
as how
quick
to
to
deal with
adapt.
it, wow, how to deal with it can be kind of tricky. The key for me on dealing with any kind of change in my life is prayer. Praying, asking God to show me how I need to deal with it, or what I need to do as far as that situation
Mhm.
goes. I think that's critical.
What do you say to the person who says, "Well, I'm not going to try YouTube or I'm not going to try Zoom. I'm afraid I'll fail." What would you say to that person?
Well, I was telling you earlier, this is my first time using Zoom. Because right now
Well, you're
I had
doing
used Google
good.
Duo. Thank you. But I'd heard of Zoom, of course. I've never had a reason to use it.
Mhm.
So you know, I I think if we're not willing to try new things, things can get kind of stale. I mean, I want to keep growing and and learning. And there's a lot of things that you can listen to or watch on YouTube that are Christian. And so I think for people who aren't willing to try, I think they're going to miss out on being able to see or hear, a lot of things that they may enjoy or that may minister to them or speak to them.
Well, one thing that a lot of folks, and it's obvious, I'm not afraid of it, but is making a mistake.
Yeah.
But you can make a mistake. I think people are tired of fake stuff. I think that they want to
Hmm.
see real. They want to see, well, okay, you stumbled, so how did you fix it? I think
Right.
that's a good thing there.
I I agree. I absolutely agree. I think that's key. I think, when you're talking about people, I think our nation as a whole, I think, seeing things that are genuine and real, I really believe that's where we are, at the moment. Um, and of course, I mean, not to get in too far into politics, but, with a lot of things that are going on right now, and I think we need that. So,
Yeah.
there's a lot going on in the world that's, pretty scary. My youngest son is in the army, and he's getting deployed soon because of the Russia Ukraine war,
Mm.
and so his unit's being sent over. There's we got a lot going on, and our country needs prayer, our military needs prayer. Um, yeah, things can be kind of scary, and for people that don't have a relationship with Christ, or that don't believe in God, I have no idea how they deal with
I,
any of it.
I don't know how you deal with it. To
I don't
not
either.
know that there's something better. It's going to be,
Hmm.
this is a practice run for all of us.
Yeah, yeah. Without hope, we all need hope.
Mhm.
So for people that don't know Christ, I don't know how they deal with any of the things that are going on in the world or in their own life, for that matter.
I've been a big study. I love history. And that was
I do
one
too.
thing you could always depend on me to make good grades in history because I loved it. And what you love, you're going to excel in anyway.
Hmm.
But I remember we were learning. I don't know if this is even being taught in school anymore, but about the Depression.
Hmm.
And people had these really good jobs, and they were jumping off skyscrapers because they couldn't see it an end. All they could see is an end. They couldn't see a future out there. What do you want to say to those? Because it does look kind of scary right now. And
It
what would you
does.
say to the person who has no hope?
I would say that it doesn't matter where we are, what we've done, what we've been through, or what we're facing. God is there, He's waiting on us. He loves us. He has his arms stretched out, waiting for us. Um, I know there's a lot of people that deal with hopelessness, that deal with depression, and things may look really bad now, but one thing that we know is going to happen is change. The Bible says, and it came to pass. And the fact is, most things in life come to pass. Everything's going to pass. Things change. And while the situation may be dark and bleak right now, there's always hope, especially in Christ. There's always hope, for tomorrow. And He loves us. He's whatever they're dealing with, He's waiting on them, to bring that to Him, and He's there. There is absolutely hope for tomorrow, especially in Jesus.
I think so too. There's been a lot of times in my life I thought, well, this is the end of me. I'm ruined.
Yeah.
And then I've looked back thinking if God had answered that particular prayer that I had, I'd have been in a mess.
Oh gosh, yeah. Yeah. It's like the Garth Brooks songs about unanswered prayers.
Oh, that should be my tagline.
Yeah. Sometimes the prayer not being answered, things not getting what we want is actually a blessing. Because God sees from, past the point that we're at in that moment, and the things that we want may not be what's best for us. So yeah, absolutely. So, I think people may think a prayer is going unanswered, but the answer to that prayer may be to not get it because it's not good for them.
Well, and then sometimes you think about, I had a job opportunity one time. I could have been in New York, Times Square, all that kind of stuff. A lot of income it really would have, but somehow I couldn't get excited about it. I don't know why. All my friends were saying, "Are you crazy? You know what you've got here? This is just you're insane not to take this job." All I could think about was my son, who was about 14 years old, teenager, and all I could think about is, do I want to raise him in New York City? That's all I could think about. So we're used to the nice country sunshine, and there, and teachers that during that time wouldn't mind, like, giving you a little whipping if you needed it. And so all I could think of is raising him in a liberal atmosphere. I couldn't see it. And I really think about, I'm glad I didn't take that job. Things could have happened if he got in with the wrong crowd. I could not have him right now at 43 years old. Right. So and that's of course I kept kicking myself later thinking, are you crazy yourself? But I'm so glad. Sometimes what looks really nice and enticing is not nice at all.
Oh, absolutely. First of all, just let me mention this. It really surprises me that your son is 43. You don't look old enough to have somebody 43.
You're my new best friend in the world.
That really surprises me.
Oh yeah. Thank you. I'm lucky to be here. I'm 63. I'm just lucky to be here. I shouldn't be by some of the crazy mistakes I've made before. So thank you, Jesus, for giving me chances. I mean, He is really, really a God of chances. We've got about a minute left in this segment. I just saw what time it is. How can folks find your music besides listening to IC Radio?
Well, first, IC Radio. I listen to IC Radio a lot. Matter of fact, so I was familiar with how to request because I listen to the station. So I enjoy it. I've shared the station before on my Facebook page, but beyond IC Radio, for people that want to hear it, it's on all digital platforms like Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Amazon. And quickly, I don't understand why there is a Apple and an iTunes, but I don't get that, but there is. And or jimmyrenomusic.com, which is JIMMYRENO music.com.
Thank you, Jimmy.
That's
and
the
thank
best
you
way.
so much for being on the show today. It's been a pleasure.
Hey, thank you for having me.
We got to do this a lot. Two techies get together. Yes. It's got to be fun.
Yes.
And it wasn't a boring show.
Hopefully not.
No. Thank you, Jimmy, for being on the show. And you guys make sure you listen to his music.